Welcome along to the Mexican Grand Prix. It's round 20 of season 15 in the Wheel2Wheel Racing AL2 Championship. Last week we saw Just Mikey claim the Drivers' Championship, and this week him and his teammate CHM will be looking to wrap up the Constructors' Championship for Renault. But in order to do that, they're going to have to conquer the famous Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City. It's a 2.67 mile circuit, 17 corners, 7 to the left and 10 to the right. There's 3 DRS zones and plenty of opportunities to overtake. And the rundown into turn 1 here is the longest of any track on the F1 calendar. We'll likely see an exciting start to this race, which will take place over 71 laps after qualifying today. Our tires are in the middle of the Pirelli range, C2, C3, and the C4. Soft C4 tire about 1.1 seconds quicker than the mediums, and about 1.7 seconds quicker than the hards. We're likely to see a good mix of 2 and 3 stop strategies today, and at a track that usually produces great racing, we look forward to another exciting one here at Wheel2Wheel Racing.
Yeah, as you say, constructors to be decided today. Can Renault grab the title? They need to score more points than Ferrari. Ferrari need to score 25 more points to stay in the fight. And we've got a weather forecast, and it looks like we're going to have a sunny qualifying session and an overcast race. So maybe a small threat of rain, but looks like it should be slicks all the way through. Sega to cars, old dad's out on track on the medium compound, so it looks like they'll see how they fare on the track on them to start the race. But we will ride on board with Sega to cars driving for Williams as he comes round the final 2 corners to come across the start-finish line. Yep, long straight here down towards turn 1, DRS zone. This way you need a lot of straight line speed, but you also need some downforce to be able to negotiate sectors 2 and 3. Heavy braking into turn 1. You have to watch for the overtake here and then negotiate these chicanes, which is turns 2 and 3. Another DRS zone here, but it's the same activation point, so if you manage to get the overtake done down the first straight, you will add DRS to get away from your rival here. Coming into sector 2, turns 4 and 5. Tricky on the exit here. You need to make sure you watch that line so you don't invalidate your lap up into the hairpin, which is turn 6. Down here now, which is the beginning of the S's, turns 7, 8 and 9. You need to find some good rhythm, but this is where you need a little bit of downforce just to get your car rotated round. 8, 9, 10, 11 coming down here now, which is the second DRS straight. Heavy braking into turn 12, coming into the stadium section where you'll see the fireworks here on the last lap. Coming round, tight corner there again. You have to watch your speed and your track limits. Coming round 16, 17 to complete the first flying lap from Sega to cars, and he gets a 1:17.5. But that is on the medium times. We're expecting to see some quicker times. Last year we had a 1:14.9 set of pole time, so we were going to see what kind of times people can set around here tonight.
Yep, I think Sega to cars just getting a time on the board, taking it easy, make sure he stayed within the white lines.
Appleplex.
We'll likely see him set a better lap on his next run.
To cross the line, Appleplex not with a happy time there, with a 1:18.1 on the soft tyres. So again, maybe he's just testing the track, see how he fares.
Well, old dad's rule coming across, and he puts it onto provisional pole. 1:16.9, that's getting a little more like it. Still on the medium tire though, so we'll likely see some quicker laps throughout this session.
Dazzy Bow, number 1 fan, who is better known as Strident, he's coming across the line, but he has invalidated his lap, so he won't be setting a qualifying time on this occasion. Sega to cars improves his time with a 1:17.0. CHM just squeezing between the two there, putting it into second place with a 1:16.9 on the softs.
Yeah, it was a purple Sector 3 for CHM, so those soft tires and the grip really helping them keep the traction in that tight technical stadium section.
So what was the time difference between the mediums and the softs? What should we be looking at here?
1.1 seconds.
Ooh.
So a big gap. Softs are definitely the ideal tire, but you gotta use the mediums at some point during the race if it stays dry, so
Yes.
starting on the mediums might not be the worst strategy.
But I think pole time will be in the 14s, high 14s, so I think there's a lot to come time-wise yet as Prev crosses the line with a 1:16.6 on the softs.
Strident goes up to P2. So some of our CHM puts it on provisional pole with a 16.5.
Yeah, that was his second lap on that soft set of tyres.
Definitely some more time to be found. So we have our newest AL2 champion, Just Mikey, starting his first flying lap.
Yep, as you say, he's looking to put on a good show here in Mexico with his teammate CHM to wrap up the constructors. This will be a very nice, tidy Sector 1. DRS wide open, nothing too pushing to invalidate his lap.
You saw turns 1, 2, and 3, and also through there, the beginning of Sector 2, he's just making sure to keep it within the track limits, not really pushing all the way just yet on his first lap. But it has been a smooth lap, no real mistakes from Mikey. Just a smooth first couple of sectors, and a purple Sector 2. And Mikey puts it into the 15s.
Yeah, 6 tenths in front of his teammate who was provisionally holding pole before he snatched it away. Dastardly looking to set his first flying lap now, hoping for a better show than last week. He's got a purple Sector 1. Last week he was involved in some early incidents which put him into the pits, and he was a pit stop behind everybody then for pretty much the whole race, and not the race the Ferrari driver would have been wanting, especially as we say the constructors title is still open and Ferrari are the main contender to challenge Renault.
Purple Sector 2 as well for Dastardly, so as long as he avoids any mistakes, he goes a little bit deep there at turn 13. As long as he avoids a disastrous final sector, it should be a very good lap for the Ferrari driver. He comes across the line and goes second fastest with a 16.4.
Yeah, if these are the times that people are looking to set, maybe the track temperatures aren't quite right for the 14s, but Dastardly will be happy with a second place start here on the front row.
We saw him just go a little bit deep into turn 13 towards the end of the lap there, and despite having a purple sectors 1 and 2, which sector 3 cost him a good bit of time to Mikey, only good enough for second.
Just catching the end of Bannister's first Sector 1. It didn't look maybe as neat as some of the other drivers, but I did just get the end of it, so we'll see how his first flying lap fares on the current table. Appleplex putting the time in a 1:18.1. The second DRS zone is never one that typically creates an overtake. It just helps you to get that little bit closer to the back of the car in front to help you get the job done down the main straight.
It'd be so difficult to follow through that second sector, so that DRS just helps you close the gap a little bit of any time you might have lost. And Bannister puts it on provisional pole. Really good lap from the Mercedes driver.
Some of the big gaps here, 4 tenths between first and second, and 4 tenths between second and third. A lot of time to be made up by some of these drivers if they're wanting to show competitive spirit between these top 3 who are ironically, or it doesn't take too much of a surprise to find out that they are the top 3 in the standings.
Riding on board with Prev, and he smoothly gets it through the S's and sets a purple sector 2. Really well done from Prev. See if he can finish off the lap and move himself further up the grid. Right now he's set P5, coming around the final corner, and he is up to third. A good lap from Prev, a 16.3.
It's a very good time from Prev. Strident looking to be the next car to cross the line. He did go very deep there. Very, very surprised to see that the game didn't invalidate his lap, but he seems to have got away with that one. We'll see how his time compares. A couple of cars moving out the way there on the multi-map. It looked like they was moving out the way for Sega, who was on an outlap. So Strident completing the stadium section now, coming round to the start-finish stage. He's coming in. Was not happy with that lap.
It was on a set of lap old tires and saw some little mistakes in there, so he thought better of it. Back into the pits. Get a fresh set. He's got time for another run. We close in on 5 minutes to go in this session.
So CHM fighting for the Constructors' Championship today, looking to complete his second flying lap. Can he improve his time? No, he's not going to go again. It looks like he's possibly not got enough ERS to do it if he's looking to set another time, but Appleplex going very slow. I think he's run out of fuel, but he's clear of everybody, so he seems to be pretty safe.
The Sega Takal's and the Williams coming through Sector 2. He's somebody we shouldn't be surprised if he challenges the times of the top 2 as he sets a purple Sector 2. Sega Takal's got great pace. He's kept it nice and tidy through the final sector. And he's up to third. A good lap from Sega Takal with 16.033.
A second better than his previous time set. And Old Dad's just put it into fourth with a 1:16.1. And it looks like CHM just improves also. 1:16.3 now into sixth. So who else is out on track? Dastardly is coming around the final sector of his outlap, so he will be looking to improve on his time to get himself back up near the front row like he was on his last set time.
So it's really important as we ride on board with Dastardly here if you can attack the curbs really all the way throughout the lap, but especially here at 1, 2, and 3 can gain so much time by attacking those curbs. He does it well on the exit of 3. That'll help him down the second DRS straight in towards turn 4. And it is a purple sector 1 for Dastardly. See him coming to the tight part of sector 2. Very tidy through there. And then this section that can really make or break your lap through the S's. Very easy to invalidate and very easy to get your line wrong and really ruin the entire lap. But Dastardly takes it well, and another purple sector. We saw last time he had 2 purple sectors and he went deep here at turn 13. He doesn't make the same mistake. Takes it much better this time around. So far looking like a very competitive lap from Dastardly. We'll see how far up the grid he can go. He's up to second.
Back onto the front row. He's definitely in contention of a podium finish here. I think his previous performance here at Wheel2Wheel in Mexico shows that he is race material here in Mexico, but Bannister improving his pole time with a 1:15.3.
That will be tough for anybody to beat here, as our drivers are either on or about to start their final runs.
Yeah, Prev, Appleplex both finishing their outlaps, starting their flying lap now. Old Dad's, he is going again.
Oh, and Old Dad's up into second. We saw Mikey coming into the stadium now. Set a purple sector 2, so we'll see how much Mikey can close the gap to the man he put out of the championship fight last week. Can he beat Bannister? No, he's second. The 1:15.7.
All this, what everyone's doing, is undoing Dastardly's hard work to get back onto the front row. He's down now to 4th again. And he's not setting an improving time now, unless he's going to go again. Has he got the fuel to have another run? No, he's into the pits. Dastardly will not start higher than 4th. But pole position at Mexico, that's a long run down into turn 1. I'll be surprised if our pole sitter is still first come the first corner.
Prev coming around the last couple of corners. He improved through sector 2.
Strident improved, right, putting it into 5th place.
Prev improves, but not enough to move him from 7th.
Appleplex had invalidated his lap, but he has got time to go again. His fuel light is on. If he does have enough to get round, he's got one more shot. Old Dad's fuel light is solid, so I think he's nearly out of fuel, but he has. Who does he have behind him? He has Mikey behind him, but Mikey's not setting a new time. So there is only Prev.
Appleplex is invalidated.
Prev is invalidated also. And who is the other car? Strident, who was also invalidated. So that is our qualifying over. No more positions will change. So my prediction of the 1:14s, maybe not quite right. Maybe the track temperatures wouldn't permit the adhesion required to get into the 14s.
Yeah, it was a strange qualifying session, as we saw big gaps between whoever was sitting at the top, and it just kept getting beaten and beaten, and a lot of time made up throughout the session by all of our drivers, but especially Bannister, as he is 4/10 in front of the rest of the pack.
It is quite tight in the middle sector. Got 4th, 5th, 6th, all and 7th, all quite close to each other time-wise. Just Mikey, 3/10 behind Bannister. Like I say, race down to turn 1. That that won't be hard for Mikey to bring a challenge down that start-finish straights. So there we have the final standings for the qualifying session. We have Bannister on pole with a 1:15.3. Just Mikey is in second, joining him on the front row. Old Dads is third, Dastardly is fourth, Strident is fifth, Sega to Cos is sixth, Prev is seventh, CHM is eighth, A Letdown Estate is ninth, and Appleplex is 10th. So as it stands for the Renault Constructors battle, both Renault cars are in front of one Ferrari car each. So as it stands, if the race was to finish in a similar order to this, Renault will clinch that title with a spare 2 races to go. Now that is very overcast, isn't it? It did say it was cloudy, and sometimes the weather does threaten to change on this game, as in real life there are 24 hours between the qualifying session and the race start, so track temperatures might have a play here. In fact, I didn't clock if any of the drivers was on the mediums. I think, did they all qualify on the softs?
I think most everybody. I don't believe A Letdown of State set a time on the softs. There's a few that went out on the mediums at the beginning. I think everybody except A Letdown of State set a time on the softs after that.
So as we previously said, that we've got a championship battle on here. The title could be decided this race, but we still have much a race on for second place in the drivers and second place in the constructors also, if first is decided here today. So at the top of the table, Mikey, our current champion for AL2. Mikey, with 14 podiums, 4 wins and 5 fastest laps, has scored a total of 330 points. Now, unable to catch him for the title, in second place is Bannister. And Bannister has scored 11 podiums, 2 wins and 1 fastest lap, scoring him 243 points, which puts him 87 behind Mikey. Now, the next race is Dastardly, who has 7 podiums, 2 wins, 2 fastest laps, 216 points in total. He is only 27 points behind Bannister. And with 3 races left to go, there is a total of 78 points up for grabs. So he can take second place from Bannister. And again, down into the constructors' battle. Renault, currently leading with 15 podiums, 4 wins and 5 fastest laps. They've scored 448 points. Chasing them is Ferrari, who are the only team capable of taking the title from them for the rest of this season. And they have scored 8 podiums, 2 wins, 2 fastest laps, with bringing them 335 points, which puts them 113 behind. And with 132 points to grab for the constructors, they are still in with a shout for the title. However, very close behind them, Mercedes. They have got 13 podiums, 2 wins and 1 fastest lap, scoring 301 points. They are only 34 points behind Ferrari, so they still very much could take that second step away from the Ferrari drivers. So, although the drivers' title has been decided and the constructors may be decided today, we still have much a race on between 4 top class drivers here at Wheel to Wheel, and of course everybody else still wants their piece of pie, so they will be looking to get some of their points on the board.
Yep, every position counts in those standings, if nothing else, but for pride and bragging rights among our drivers. They'll be fighting right down to the last lap at Abu Dhabi in a couple of weeks.
I mean, the championship's order does still stand for something, because when we move into the next season, the car picks go on championship order. So the people who want to pick their favourite car, albeit the cars are set to equal, some people like to have their own colours and fly their team. So it goes in championship order. So if they want to have the car pick, they need to finish higher up the table than other people that will be looking to take their favourite team's colours.
So as we said, if it does stay dry, should be a mix of a couple different strategies. And with most of our drivers starting on the softs, they'll likely bring those 16 to 18 laps into this race before they pit, because there is quite high degradation as those soft tires get older and older. They can go a maximum of 27 laps, but as they get worn, the pace and the grip really drops off. So because of that, we might see a 3-stop strategy for most of our drivers here. The combination of the high degradation but the pace that those softs have when they're fresh. 1.1 second advantage over the mediums. So you want to be on the softs, but they don't last that long. So it is a dilemma for our drivers to deal with.
Yeah, you got to have good tyre management to make a one-stop stick here. I have seen drivers do it.
So our drivers are underway on the formation lap. Bannister the lead in the pack.
Alec Bannister is on the medium tyres.
Yes.
So as I say, Dastardly, he does typically do well at Mexico. Last season he finished second here, Prev third and Mikey fourth. Bannister was quite low down. He finished 8th, but I know it was a wet end to the race, so for what happened for Bannister to be finishing 8th, I couldn't recall. But there was 2 drivers who had penalties, which made them drop positions come the end. So again, track limits coming into play here.
We saw that on Wednesday as well in AL1. Penalties always play a big part here at Mexico, so combination of pace but also consistency and precision for our drivers to get the most out of this race today. So then, the longest run down to turn 1 of any track on the Formula 1 calendar. We'll likely see a lot of action before we get to the first braking zone. And it's the top 2 drivers in our standings. Mikey, our champion, Bannister in second, both on the front row.
Old Dad's doing well to take 3rd place. Dastardly creeping up in 4th.
All of our drivers are locked into their grid positions. We see the projected strategies. We see the lights go on. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing in Mexico. The lights are out, and Bannister is away, leading the charge down towards turn 1. And it's Old Dads and Dastardly going wheel to wheel. Bannister keeping his lead into the braking zone. Mikey falling back. Both Old Dads and Dastardly getting in front.
Dastardly having a blind start to this race here.
Mikey trying to fight back Old Dads as they come down towards turn 4. Mikey is back in 3rd.
Yep, did well to get all 10 cars around turn 1 there. It's usually a bottleneck for a lot of cars braking at different times and causes some accidents. End plates, carbon fibre, wings, but no, we all seem to have got through pretty well here.
Yeah, just a little bit of wheel banging, but nothing major for any of our drivers.
Oh, and very wide with the Force India cars there, or should I say Racing Point, but Strident has made it past Old Dad's. Old Dad's not having a great start here. Prev, what happened to Prev? Prev's dropped down into last place. Prev, he has got wing damage, so maybe there was more that happened at turn 1. I first thought.
Into the pits. Really unfortunate for Prev there.
So Dastardly having a great start to this race, managing to get second position by turn 2.
Yeah, and Old Dads was challenging right up there with him. Both guys on the second row got a great start, and both had overtaken Mikey into turn 1, but Old Dads wasn't able to make it stick. And he's dropped back a few places now.
Really unfortunate that Prev is had to pit on lap 1 to repair that damage. He's going to have a long race now, but he's gone onto the soft tyre, so he's going to be chasing. And as I say, Prev last season did pretty well here, so hopefully his track record will mean he can get back into this race pretty soon.
Appleplex and CHM coming together. Appleplex having a look on the inside of the Renault, coming into turn 12, and Appleplex comes off second best.
Clearly shaken from that. He took the corner and ended up getting a time penalty from that.
Well, up front, Bannister's built himself a 1.5 second gap. That should be Mikey in the 2 racing points.
Strident is right having a look at the back of Mikey there. He's seeing if he can have a go. No, heavy braking into turn 4. He's not able to get the job done. But he is all over the back of this Renault as his teammate behind picks up
right behind him.
So at this point of the race, the cars will be heavy laden with fuel, making it more difficult to achieve the S's here, hitting the apex and getting the right corner exit speed. But actually no, now it looks like Mikey is having a look at the back of Dastardly.
Yeah, Dastardly going to be under pressure here. I don't think only from Mikey is it such a long run down into turn 1. All the cars behind him are going to get DRS. As we see one of the racing points coming into the pits.
Yeah, as typical, the Ferrari has got phenomenal straight line speed, so even with DRS, Mikey is struggling to make the challenge.
It is really impressive straight line speed from the Ferrari. Usually, you're as close as Mikey was coming out of the final corner, the overtake is done and dusted pretty easily before turn 1. That is not the case.
Yeah, he's not able to get the job done this lap, and Strident pitted then. I wasn't sure what's happened there. Maybe he had some damage, but Mikey is right on the back of that Ferrari still.
Oh, and Old Dad's getting a little loose in the S's and hits the wall.
Ooh, and I thought he was going to come back on track in front of traffic then, but he managed to get out of the way. So there's a Mercedes just coming round now. And he manages
Old Dad's does well to stay out of the way. Really unfortunate there. He just got a little loose and clipped the wall with his back left wheel, sending him into a spin. It was so difficult as he was dealing with 30 air from both Mikey and Dastardly in front. So his downforce would have been far less than he was expecting going into the S's.
Speaking of Mikey and Dastardly, Mikey is having another go down the start-finish straight. He's closer this time, but still not able to get the move done into turn 1. He will have a second chance with the second DRS zone coming down towards turn 4, but the straight line speed of that Ferrari is hard to beat.
And a great exit out of turn 3 by Dastardly. Mikey not able to make up any ground into turn 4.
You can see coming through the corners that Mikey has probably got more downforce, which is explaining why Dastardly's just got that straight line speed. In the S's, Mikey is all over him, but is not able to get the move done.
Mikey getting a little loose there.
Yeah, I've seen that back end kick out there.
Does well to catch it. He's still within DRS range of the Ferrari in front.
CHM just dipping into DRS range of the other Ferrari. So it's very much Ferrari on Renault right now, with both Renaults losing out on both occasions. How does the straight line speed of the teammates compare? CHM seems to have much more straight line speed than the Ferrari of a letdown estate, and the letdown estate has to move to the inside to defend on the medium tyres. Can CHM get it done on the softer compound? And I think there was a little bit of contact there. But CHM has got the move done coming out of turn 3. DRS assistance just for insult to injury, and now he's heading down to turn 4 ahead of the Ferrari.
Yeah, it can be really difficult to go wheel to wheel through turns 1 and 2 like they attempted to do without touching, but doesn't look like a letdown estate suffered any damage, which is good to see. He's done well to get up to 6th on those medium tires.
It's surprising as well, actually, all these cars that pitted early, they've gone onto soft tyres. Nobody seems to want to look at the medium tyres yet. Now, our weather forecast earlier was overcast for the race, so I'm wondering if they've had a different forecast which might have a threat of rain, which is why they all seem to be wanting to stick to the soft tyres.
The sun has come out a little bit since the start of the race, so it doesn't look like rain is imminent. But of course, that can change over the next hour and a half or so.
A few comments on the stream. Stealth Monkey saying, "Come on, Mikey, you can do it." And Chewy saying, "Go Dastardly." Yes, it's very good to see Dastardly in front of the championship. In front of the champion, should I say.
Yeah.
He is putting up a very good fight here. That straight line speed, I think, is key to Dastardly's success in this battle between him and Mikey.
So I guess you could say our two most popular drivers doing battle here in the opening laps.
Well, we also have to mention that Bannister is nearly 4 seconds out in front as Dastardly picks up a penalty in that stadium section. Clearly feeling the pressure from the Renault driver behind. But Dastardly has little or no ERS to defend, but the straight line speed still enables him to stay ahead in this battle.
Mikey's just not able to close the gap even with DRS. He's going to have to be right on his back like he is now and get a great exit as he has done out of turn 3. And now he's pulled alongside pulled alongside the Ferrari and has passed him into turn 4.
It looked like Dastardly was trying to have a look on the inside, but the Renault shut the door because he was more than a car's length in front, I believe. So he was well within his right to move across there. But Dastardly now having an opportunity with that straight line speed. We know he can keep up the back of Mikey. He can save his ERS for a couple laps, something that we typically see Mikey doing. And he can have another look down the line. But whereas his teammate, a letdown estate, is still on the back of CHM, who took the position off him earlier, is he looking for the comeback? Seeing a couple of yellow flags coming out. There seem to be these Racing Point cars as Appleplex picks up another penalty. So we've flipped it round now. We've got a letdown estate chasing CHM with DRS. How does the straight line speed compare?
When Dastardly's gotten back in front of Mikey. Mikey using all his overtake to try and bring the fight back to him as they come into turn 4. Dastardly's able to stay in front for the time being, but Mikey not giving it up as he comes back alongside of him. They're wheel to wheel through turn 6.
That was very tight through the hairpin there.
Great driving from both Dastardly and Mikey there.
Both cars don't look sure on the traction coming through the S's there. They both looked a little bit loose on the rear end. But Mikey is not giving up this fight to Dastardly. Dastardly's already retaken the position back, but Mikey is not going away. It's all about Renault and Ferrari on this race, which is all about them on the championship constructors battle as well, as Mikey is in the pits. So 10 laps in and Mikey is taking off them soft tyres. A letdown estate is much closer to the back of the Renault of CHM this time. Is the DRS assistance going to help him get the job done?
He's gaining very quickly, sending it down the inside, and oh,
a fair bit of contact. Letdown estate looking for the better line at the corner there, but CHM seems to be pulling away. I'd have to review the angles there, because that was a tight bit of contact there. It looked like CHM came over onto a letdown estate. Whether he left him enough room or not, I think that would have to be reviewed by stewards if either of these drivers felt impeded from that contact. But a letdown estate putting on a very good show here on the medium compound compared to his Renault counterpart on the soft tyres. And Mikey moving on to the medium compound, so he's looking now to extend this next stint.
Letdown estate starting in 9th on the slower tire. Has a real opportunity now to get all the way up to 4th if we can get this move done on CHM. Going down the inside once again. CHM's able to defend as we have a retirement
in the pits.
Strident in the pits.
And the letdown estate is having a look on the inside coming into turn 4, but CHM does close the door on him. Was a letdown estate far enough on his car to class that? Oh, and CHM traction on the back of his car does not look great. A letdown estate still not able to get their move past the Renault driver of CHM. He's very close to the back of him still. DRS assistance doesn't seem to be helping him right now. Old Dad's suffering on the hard tyres. In fact, oh no, that's Strident's retired car pulled over on the side. So
Letdown estate comes once more into turn 1.
He really wants that inside line in turn 1, and he's got it this time.
Yeah, great move from a letdown estate, and he pulls clear on the exit of turn 3. Has DRS assistance to pull away even further from the Renault.
So is a letdown estate now going to be able to pull away from the Renault car? The Renault car, 12 laps into this race, is his tyres going to fare much longer? Probably not too well against a letdown estate's medium tyres. A letdown estate's mediums will likely to have slightly better grip at this point. as Letdown Estate has pulled 2 seconds on him since the overtake. But all this while, whilst they've been battling, Just Mikey has been closing his gap between him and the Letdown Estate, so Mikey will soon be having a look to overtake a Ferrari driver once more.
And I think if this result stands, it would be enough for Renault, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah, Ferrari needs 25 more points than Renault. I think for that to happen, I think Ferrari need one of the Renault cars to crash, or both, to still be in with a chance at the Constructors' title. But with only 8 drivers left, all they have to do is finish the race to score points, which will help both the teams in their current fight. But having said that, if both Renault cars were to DNF from this session, as Mikey makes his way past his teammate, very easily done there with the DRS assistance. If both Renault drivers were to DNF from this session, the 2 Ferrari cars together would have to score 25 points or more. If they was only to score 24 or less, they would still be out, even if both Renaults didn't finish. But Sega also putting in a good drive here. 7 seconds behind Dastardly, but firmly in 3rd place right now. And CHM has pitted for a fresh set of softs. So both Renault drivers on a different strategy here.
And now Mikey can see the Ferrari of a Letdown Estate just in front. He's closing that gap very quickly on his fresh mediums.
Old Dad's has got 6 seconds of penalties, but he is on the hard tyres, probably looking to just get through this race. He doesn't seem to have had a great start from it, and his teammate is also retired. But I'm hoping he's going to be well aware enough to keep out of the way for the blue flags. So Sega in the pits now, which means a Letdown Estate and Mikey inherit his position. His old dad's going to be receiving blue flags yet. I can't see any screens. No blue flags as of yet. Bannister doing a great job in this race, 7 seconds ahead of Dastardly. Dastardly and a Letdown Estate taking 2nd and 3rd currently. A Letdown Estate on his long stint on his medium tyres, but is very soon to be under threat from the Renault of Mikey just behind him on 10 lap fresher tyres. We've got another comment on our stream from Dave, I think it's Dave J. How's doing, lads? We're doing pretty well, Dave. I hope you and yours are all well in this current climate also. And thanks for joining us, watching some great racing here, seeing if this championship battle is going to be decided. And aptly we have a Letdown Estate under threat from Mikey just now as we come round the final corner for them to start their lap 16. DRS assistance, can Mikey get this job done?
Yeah, he had a full bank of overtake as well. Mikey flying past the Ferrari of a Letdown Estate.
And just at that moment also Dastardly in the pits, meaning Mikey overtook both Ferraris at that point.
So Mikey back up to 2nd, where he was for a few seconds after he put himself on the front row of the grid, but then just dropping back.
Yeah, purple sector 1 for Mikey there, only 3.5 seconds behind our race leader Bannister, because Bannister I think also pitted that lap same as Dastardly. So it's really brought these top 4 drivers into a nice battle.
Yeah, Mikey really enjoying these mediums so far. He's made up a few positions, but now his mindset will just be to keep both Ferraris behind as Dastardly's on fresh softs and try and stay as close as he can to Bannister out in front.
Now Mikey's tyres might last longer, but Bannister is really punishing those softs to put him. Although Mikey's just got the fastest lap there, Bannister's pulled away from him.
Yeah, I think Bannister might be breaking that fastest lap time here on his first full lap.
And Dastardly just making his way past his Ferrari teammate at Letdown Estate. Letdown Estate, the only car still carrying his start tyres. So as our season's drawing to a close, we've got some new drivers coming in soon. There's been activity on the Discord and the website with new drivers looking to come in. So if anybody's watching that's interested in joining or rejoining Wheel to Wheel, just head up onto our website and hopefully see you on track in the near future as Bannister sets the fastest lap of the 1:19.7.
And Dastardly's put in a great lap and he's right on the back of Mikey. Got DRS and he is flying down that straight towards turn 1 and he is ahead of the Renault before the braking zone.
Yeah, them soft tyres really showing that 1.1 second faster time for fresh tyres, but Mikey's 7 lap old medium, so that 1.1 will be bigger than that at the current state of wear.
And I think Mikey is smart enough to know that he's taken this sort of sacrifice early on in the race of going on to the medium tires so that he will then later in the race be able to be on the soft tires while his main rivals will be on the mediums. So, interesting strategy call from Mikey to go opposite of the norm.
Yeah, it's always an interesting strategy call from Mikey when it comes to tyres, but
yeah,
he seems to have proven his worth this season by clinching the driver's title.
And he'll be hoping that this call will pay off later in the race. Dastardly sets another fastest lap.
Dastardly will be kicking himself. Awarded that penalty on in, which may come down to affect the finishing table as Old Dad's Rules picks up another 3-second penalty. So I'll ride on board with our race leader for a while because I've not given him much airtime at all, despite the absolutely fantastic drive he's been doing here, leading pretty much most laps. In fact, I think he's led every single lap, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
So phenomenal drive from Bannister, really showing why he has been the one contending with our driver champion, who has just picked up his first 3-second penalty.
Yeah, it's just getting better and better for Bannister's his 2 closest rivals on penalties. He's still yet to pick up his first. He's extended the gap to Dastardly behind on this lap now 7 seconds. I think there's been times throughout this season when Bannister's looked the quickest of any of our AL2 drivers, but he doesn't have the consistency I think that Mikey has been able to show. That's why Mikey, in the end, crowned our champion. But Bannister definitely has the pace to win races.
Yes, but Bannister, as you say, he unfortunately DNF'd in Bahrain, and he did not start in France. I think he had a bad race in Belgium where he only scored 1 point. But Mikey and CHM, the two Renault drivers, no surprise if they clinch the Constructors' title here today, because both of them have scored points every single round this season. Touchwood. Commentator's curse. I don't want to cause anyone to crash. I'd love to see a season where both drivers score points every single race for the full calendar. That would be an immense achievement for them both. And Mikey coming from 2 seasons ago, where I think he was probably about 10th in the drivers' standings, far away from ever looking to be championship materials, but he's improved his racecraft, he's improved his consistency, he's got rid of all the little errors that he used to make, and he is now our AL2 champion. But looking to join the fight, Sega to Cos on some fresher medium tyres is now within DRS range of a letdown of state.
The letdown of state, getting to the point where those mediums will be starting to fade ever so slightly, and Sega to Cos driver with great pace himself on much younger tires will be looking to get this move done.
A beautiful camera view through Sector 2 there, watching Sega chase down the Ferrari car. He's looking to have a good shot down the start-finish straight now with DRS assistance. We know that the Ferrari of a letdown of state doesn't quite have the straight-line speed of his teammate Dastardly. So how will Sega fare now? Sega's not using his overtake, and letdown of state is, with DRS assistance, is not actually able to close the gap much at all to the Ferrari driver. Both cars looking quite well through turns 2 and 3 there, but a letdown of state went wide, picking up a 3-second penalty. Sega definitely carrying more downforce as he sticks right to the back of the Ferrari car through that sector there. And I think Old Daz was moving out of the way of Bannister then. That was what that yellow flag was. Oh, and a tight little tap on the back of the Ferrari there from the Williams driver through that small stadium section there. Sega looking to have a better run, still not using his overtake, but DRS and Slipstream is able to get closer to the Ferrari of a letdown estate. Letdown estate is moving to the inside to defend, but Sega is nowhere near close enough to get a job done.
I think a letdown estate might have done the Williams driver a favor by going defensive there. So it compromised them into turn 1, and Sega was able to close the gap and get a great exit out of turn 3, and now they're side by side going into 4, and Sega to Cos is able to get the move done.
That was a great move, but it's a letdown estate. Other than turn 1, he seemed to know exactly where to put his car to make the job as hard as possible for Sega. Let down estate getting slightly loose there, but he's still just in DRS range, so if he can stick to the back of Sega through this section, he will have DRS to come back at him down the start-finish straight. But he's dropped out of DRS range just about, but I'm going to have to drop down now to Prev and CHM, because Prev has got awfully close to the back of the Renault car there. I can see on the time board and the mini-map that a letdown estate not close enough to take the position back from Sega, but Prev is offending CHM now with these attacks. Oh, and it's very close to the back of the Renault. That close, he lost his back end a little bit. Prev not opening his DRS, I think. Yeah, I think he was a bit shaken from that save that he had to do coming out of the final corner.
Got just about a full charge of overtake. Chose not to use it on either of the DRS straights there. If he can stay this close to CHM, I'd like his chances to get the move done using that overtake on the next lap.
As I say, I think Prev just sort of lost his nerve coming out the final sector, so he's give up on trying to overtake then. He's regathered himself now. He's back on the gearbox of CHM. CHM with only 41% battery, but as you say, Prev, he's got the full 100% and he's pressed his overtake button now.
Yeah, he's looking to get it done right now. He's closing the gap as they come in towards turn one. Prev switches to the inside, and he's ahead into turn one.
Yeah, initially he didn't use the benefit of the slipstream, but as soon as CHM sort of come in front of Prev, you could see the gap just closed so rapid. CHM was never going to have the move come turn one. CHM's dropped off quite a bit there. Old Dad's still in this race on the hard tyres. I wonder how far he can take them hard tyres. It's not the usual tyre strategy for here, but I think it was an early stop. So, but fair play to him for staying in this race and trying to score the points for his team. So Bannister, having gone soft, it did flick up at the start. One of his predicted strategies was a 3-stop going soft, medium. So is that what the race leader is looking to do? He certainly has the pace to be able to pull off an extra stop, as he's again now 7 seconds nearly in front of Dastardly, who has got a 3-second penalty. I've got a message to shout out to Devil, who's watching also. We've got a few ex-wheel-to-wheel drivers watching our streams. Welcome. Hope you're all safe, you and yours, in this crazy times. But let's enjoy some racing together. Dastardly closed half a second now to Bannister. We've got just Mikey dropped back now 10 seconds behind Dastardly, but he is on the medium tyres. So how far can we take a set of medium tyres into a race, Matt? What's the predicted distance we can take a set of mediums?
So the maximum that Pirelli say those mediums can last is 35 laps, but anything more than I think 28-ish is pretty bold. I think
Literally.
Letdown Estate is nearing that mark with those medium tires, currently 26 laps old. He will likely be pitting in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, as we ride on board with Letdown Estate, we can see a little bit of graining on some of his tyres.
Yeah, and I just think the way the tire situation goes, the mediums are so much slower than the softs and they don't offer that much more life. So that's why we see a popular strategy is a 3-stop with 3 stints on the soft tire. The mediums are just not a great race tire around here, which is contrary to the situation on most tracks, where the medium is usually the preferred race tire.
We only have 3 drivers currently without any penalties. Bannister again showing us how it's done here in Mexico. 7.5 seconds out in the lead with no penalties. Sega to Cos, the second driver without any penalties at the moment. He's on some 12-lap old mediums, putting on a good show. He is in between the Ferrari-Renault battle and CHM doing well, as he usually does, to keep within the track limits.
See a Letdown Estate drifting around the last corner. Certainly dealing with some degradation on those old mediums. We'll see how much longer he stays out. We'll see what strategy he goes with. He's the only driver to start on the mediums. And he is the only driver to not have a pit stop to this point.
Yeah, completed 28 laps on the mediums is a very good feat. But as the camera angle shows right now, there's a lot of graining on that rear right tyre. I believe there'll be even more on the front left, because I think the front left would take some punishment around this track. But he seems to be coping still. He's only 4 tenths off his personal best. So he may pit, but he's not doing bad right now on that set of medium tyres. I mean, he will be seconds away from the personal best of a couple of these guys on fresh softs, but he's doing well for the age of his tyres to be 5 tenths down from his personal best on that lap.
Yep.
And he's got a lot of overtake. Old Dad's Rules picks up another penalty. He's got a few. He is sort of holding up the standings at the minute in last place after a dreadful start, obviously on the hard tyres, which wouldn't be very competitive in comparison to the softs that most people have got on at the moment. But I think Sega will be looking strong for next season. He's done well this season, but unfortunately in the shadow of the top 3, who seem to be running away with most races. But as some of these drivers may be moving up to the AL1 League next season, it's going to open a space for Sega to move up into the light and show us what he can do. I mean, he showed us what he can do this season, but he is 4th place in the standings at the moment. 5 podiums, 5 fastest laps, so he's not shy, and not yet to have won a race this season, but it's pretty difficult when you're in the shadow of these fast drivers, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully his time will come next season. We will see how many of these frontrunners will get the promotion. We suspect Mikey and likely also Bannister, but we will see about Dastardly as well as a possibility.
Yeah, Dastardly has done a couple seasons in AL1 before, but much like myself, moved up and feel part of the league, but it's the bottom half that we seem to be stuck in, because AL1 is a different league altogether, literally. As a letdown estate finally comes into pit, 31 laps on them medium tyres, and he moves on to a set of softs. So what do we think a letdown estate's strategy is going to be? Because he could go...
I think with 40 laps to go.
Yep.
He could be going for a 2-stop and 2 stints on the softs.
So,
that would mean stretching them a little bit further than ideal.
Well, he managed to stretch the medium, so if he's got good tyre management, he might be able to do...
I think it won't be too big of a task for him to manage those tires, because he would only have to get 20 laps out of them, which they will be starting to wear at that point, but he should have no problem.
So he could go 20-20 with some softs, or my other thought was he could go 10 or 15 with some softs, or a little bit further if he wanted, and then do the rest on some mediums if he wanted to save a pit, or be a bit more competitive if anybody was around him at the time. So Dastardly, Bannister, they're both coming to a point where they maybe wanting to move off their soft tyres. But Mikey also, as you say, possibly got another 6 good laps in them tyres. Any further than that and he may be losing time, but he's 7/10 down from his personal best at the moment, so he's not doing fantastic on them old mediums.
I think Mikey in a good spot strategy wise though to take those mediums 5 or so more laps and then hop onto a set of softs and then have one more stop and another set of softs for the end.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a good Mikey strategy. Also gives him the opportunity to take the fastest lap.
Yep. Whereas our 2 drivers up front, Bannister and Dastardly, have yet to use the medium tire, so they'll have to do that at some point here in the second half of the race, which will give Mikey an advantage.
Bannister's traction didn't look too sure coming through the S's on that lap. And we have Prev in. Prev's put on 2-lap-old softs, so has he already used all of his softs?
These might be slightly worn from qualifying.
Yeah, and we have Bannister in. Bannister is in for a fresh set of softs. Is Dastardly doing the same? Yes, Dastardly is going soft, soft, soft as Bannister has, to then finish the race on a set of mediums. Is Mikey going to inherit the race lead? Yes, he is. I wouldn't suspect for long, because he'll be chased down by a very rapid Bannister on a very fresh set of softs.
Yeah, but whatever Mikey can do to sort of hold up Bannister will help him later in the race.
Yes, if Mikey is able to hold Bannister up now and make it difficult for him to overtake.
Also make him use up a little bit more of those soft tires and their grip in the dirty air. The car will want to be sliding around a little bit more through these S's than normal.
Oh, old Dad's is doing donuts. He's come off in sector 1. And CHM is pitting. And CHM's going to be a lap down from his teammate very shortly.
Now Mikey struggling for grip out of the last corner. Bannister with a full bank of overtake. Shouldn't have much of an issue getting this move done, but the straight line speed at the Renault is really impressive. Mikey's stayed on his inside, but Bannister's able to go the long way around at turn 1 and retake the race lead.
Yeah, great move from Bannister there. It wasn't an easy one. Mikey was not giving up that position for nothing. Both cars coming up to the Renault of CHM, so hopefully we can get through that without any incident. Yeah, and CHM moves over and lets both cars through, which is the right thing to do. But Dastardly not far behind whilst these two are battling. But it won't be much of a battle now. Bannister's in front. Bannister will be trying to use them soft tyres to full advantage and run away, as he's already gained second on Mikey. Ooh, Mikey not liking the traction coming out of turn 1 there. Bannister setting the fastest lap and Mikey in the pits.
Dastardly matching. Besting.
Old Dad's is out.
Ooh.
And we have a virtual safety car, which is going to play into Mikey's hands because he's in the pits. So Mikey's going to lose less time than he should do compared to everybody else, because everybody else on track will be driving slower than they're supposed to.
There was the racing point of old Dad's. Like we lost it through the S's, and he was in the wall. So you can see red number with Trev there. So only 7 remaining.
Yeah, points for anyone who finishes. Let's hope that everybody can keep to their delta through this virtual safety car, because this game is punishing. If you are in the red at all when this virtual safety car finishes, you will get a drive-through, and it happens most weeks. So, yet to see a delta time. Dastardly's got a drive-through! That is not what he would want right now.
Oh no.
That is so unfortunate. Yeah, it's a tall order to stay in the championship battle.
DHM has also gotten a drive-through.
Oh no. So that, again, will play into Mikey's hands. Mikey onto softs. Obviously the virtual safety car come out, so we didn't get to talk about his pit stop much. He's gone on to softs. So I think, well, I ain't gonna even guess at Mikey's strategy because I'll probably get it wrong. He is our AL2 champion for a reason, so he will race his race. Unfortunately, it means that his battle against Dastardly is going to be made all the much easier, that now Dastardly has to drive through the pits under penalty, which is a real shame. And as he's coming in now to serve his, is CHM going to come in and serve his also? Yeah. Sega to Cos inheriting second place from Dastardly under penalty, and Mikey, is he going to go past? Yeah. So unfortunate. So Mikey on 1 lap old softs, Bannister on 3 lap old softs. I might have to change to the leader delta just to try and track how Mikey is doing compared to his main rival this season, Bannister, who again still is, despite the advantage that Mikey would have got then with the virtual safety car coming out whilst he was in the pits, Bannister blinding race, 20 seconds in front of Mikey at the minute, as Bannister sets the fastest lap of the 1:18.9.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Bannister's to lose at this point. I don't think there's much that Mikey or Sega to Cos can do about it. But Mikey doing what he can, setting the fastest lap. Sega into the pits. It's still a big gap. The only silver lining for Mikey is that Bannister has yet to use the mediums.
But on the downside, Mikey, Dastardly both have penalties. Bannister, not yet. Bannister, Sega, the only ones not to pick up a penalty. CHM served his penalty, but I wouldn't say that he didn't get one because he has. Mikey improving his fastest lap again. He took a second off Bannister in the last 2 laps. So he is trying to bring the fight, but it's going to come down to pit stops and tyres because, as you say, Mikey and Bannister needing to pit again this race, but Bannister has to go on to the medium tyres. So Mikey could use this advantage that he has to do soft if he can make the tyres last, which will give him the tyre advantage come the last part of the race. Dastardly. Oh, Mikey setting the fastest lap again. But Dastardly taking it straight off him.
Dastardly using all of his overtake on that lap to get that fastest lap.
Yeah, great job for Dastardly there. Getting that purple lap. Dastardly, one of our longest serving drivers at Wheel to Wheel. One of, I think, Letdown Estate would be the other if there was only two. And Dastardly, like a few drivers, like to keep score of all their statistics. And it wasn't long ago, a few races ago, he was talking to me saying about the race he'd done was the 298th race he'd done. So then I was trying to keep track of what race would be his 300th appearance, but then he refused to talk to me about it after that because he didn't want me to mention it over comms. So I think it was either last week or the week before, which I can't be sure, that it was his 300th career start for Wheel to Wheel, which is amazing. Obviously, Wheel to Wheel, we've been going 15 seasons, and Dastardly joining very early in the birth of Wheel to Wheel. So to achieve 300 race starts is phenomenal. So, but he wouldn't let me commentate about it at the time, so I thought I'd mention it now. Can't tell me off now. It's not his 300th race. It's probably his 301st or second.
So, you weren't there on Wednesday for the AL1 race.
No.
Unfortunately. But have you done Mexico a good bit in this game?
No, I do have a setup for Mexico, but I've not done a lot of it. I went in a practice session with Mikey and Bannister, Chewy, before the race started, and Mikey was beating me around Mexico. And, you know, that's nothing to say that Mikey is AL1 pace, and much more to say that my pace is dropping. But also not done a lot of practice around Mexico. It used to be one of my favourites. Mexico was my first Wheel2Wheel League race win, which I think was season 10. But it was a strong race where we had a mass disconnection, and we all voted to rerun it at the end of the season. So we went the whole season. I think I was third in the Drivers' Championship, and then I won when we reran it at the very end of the season. So that was my first Wheel2Wheel win. And the season after, had a strong start, but then I couldn't get another win until Mexico season 11. So Mexico was one of my favourite Wheel-to-Wheel tracks, not because I enjoyed it the most, but because I could win.
It is a very difficult track at first to master, so we get to this point of the season, and it is usually one of the few tracks that people aren't super familiar with, so
yeah.
Sometimes we see a big gap, and it's easy to tell who's done it and who hasn't done it, because it does take time to get comfortable around here.
Well, I could definitely say who has done it, and that would be Bannister. But Mikey, that was a 20-second gap when he pitted. Took a second out of him the first 2 laps after the pit stop, and now he's down into the 16s. So he is trying to bring the fight to Bannister. But how did you fare on Wednesday around Mexico in our AL1 League?
Quite well, I think. Mexico, one of my best tracks, I think, in this game. I was sort of best of the rest in pace, not with the aliens that we have at the front of the pack in AL1, but front of the midfield. And had some good battles with the Mercedes boys, Rika and Zach.
Yeah.
It was an enjoyable race, and then after a team error in the pit stop, putting on the wrong tires on my teammate, Drofton, he ended up going from having a chance to win the race in the closing laps because we had rain come in with about 10 laps to go, and our championship winner at this point, Glock, was leading the race, lost it in the stadium section, opened the door for my teammate to get a race win, and then after the rain came down, the team put on the wrong tires. Instead of intermediates, they put on hards. So Drofta had to hit twice in a span of 2 laps, and then he did sort of a Rubens Barrichello, pulled over to allow me to get 5th, without me in the standings.
Multi 21.
Yeah, it was. I told him not to, but he's a good teammate and a nice guy. Couldn't resist.
As a team, you still carry the same points, so whether you get the position above or Droftas does, like you say, it means more for your driver's battle, whereas Droftas might not be in a close battle in the standings at the moment.
Yeah, Glock, I believe Wednesday was the race where he clinched the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's probably a good time to mention. Congratulations, Glock, on your AL1 Drivers' Championship.
And if you think we have some quick drivers in AL2, which we do, there's no doubt about that. Some of these guys got really impressive pace. If you look at AL1 and you look at Glock, and the pace that guy has is just insane. It is another world of pace. It is unbelievable at times.
Yeah, I've seen him top of the World Championship on time trial. Top of the leaderboard, should I say. On time trial for a few tracks. But we've had a couple people like that through our time at Wheel2Wheel. We had Jarno racing with us, and I commentated on one of his races.
When was that?
That was Austria, and I think that might have been season 13, maybe 12.
Wow.
And we had a back marker trying to stay out of the way, come onto the grass, so he moved out of the way for a couple of drivers when he was getting blue flagged, and then tried to get back on the track, but because he had grassy tyres, he just completely went sideways and ended up right in the path of Jarno, who completely T-boned him and took Jarno out of the race, who was about 20 seconds in front of Lee Finley at the time, another fast driver.
Lee also one that is no stranger to the top of the time trial leaderboards.
Yeah.
He's set a few world records in the last couple of games.
Yeah, in his prime, he was up there, wasn't he?
Yeah, so Wheel2Wheel, definitely some top class drivers.
And Mikey is in the pits onto some mediums. So that is an interesting call. He didn't go long on the softs the first time either, did he? So that doesn't surprise me too much. Which is exactly what I said earlier. I was not going to call Mikey's strategy.
You just can't predict what he's going to do, because I thought it was set in stone he was going to have 2 stints of softs and finish the race on a set of softs, but he's throwing another wrench into things.
He's putting the pressure on Bannister now, though, because Bannister will have to respond. But I don't think Mikey will get too much of an undercut, to be fair, because he was still a good distance behind. But Bannister's carrying on his soft tyres for now. But Mikey, 22 laps on their mediums to finish the race.
Well, I do really enjoy this track, both in the game and in real life. Got some good races here. And I feel like because of the high altitude sort of negates any supreme engine advantage that teams might have, whether it be Ferrari last year or Mercedes most years. And it always seems to help the likes of Red Bull get into the thick of things.
Although Mexico has hosted a few decent battles over the last few seasons in real life. Yeah. We had a coming together of Max, Sebastian and Lewis on lap 1. I think that was 2 or 3 years ago in Mexico. Lap 1 they had a right kerfuffle. I think that put Lewis Hamilton quite far back at the very start of the race with wing damage, which was quite an exciting race for most other people to see him have to come through the pack. But he thought it was quite a boring race when he was interviewed at the end, which I thought was a bit arrogant. But Bannister now into the pits, which makes Dastardly inherit the race lead for now. But then we also seen Max Verstappen out of the race with a puncture, where he overtook Bottas in the stadium section, which I never understood. Till this day, I still don't understand why he overtook Bottas in the stadium section.
Not really a great overtaking spot.
No, because then he gave Bottas DRS for the long straight immediately after, and he obviously made contact with him, which gave him a puncture, which meant he had to drive the whole track with a puncture before he could come in and pit. And I think that was at the days that Max just didn't have the patience of a champion.
And he's definitely improved in that way.
Yeah.
But still shows glimpses of he's got room to grow still, obviously.
And Dastardly coming in as he was losing some traction coming around that final corner.
I do think this is the longest that this league has gone without having a battle on track since we started commentating this season.
Definitely. I'm running out of things to waffle. But Sega now inherited second place, but Sega is one of the top 4 that has to pit again. Bannister, Mikey and Dastardly all could make the end of this race on their tyres. Sega will have to pit, as will a letdown estate, who's done a good job taking them soft tyres 19 laps, but he did a good job taking the medium tyres a long distance. So tyre management very good with a letdown estate. So a letdown estate very nearly could just pit again and do the same on a fresh set of softs.
Yeah, and he doesn't look like a letdown state will be under any threat from behind. So there's a big gap. Prev. So stretching those softs a couple more laps won't really hurt him at all.
Yep. Prev and CHM doing well to stay in the race. I think CHM's lapped. I think Prev's probably not far away from being lapped, but he can make the end of the race on that set of tyres, as a letdown estate is in for a fresh set of softs, which on his car could very easily make the end. So Chewy asking, what's the penalty situation? At the minute, everyone who has a penalty has only got 3 seconds. Dastardly and CHM both had a drive-through penalty under the virtual safety car.
I'm looking forward to next season in Formula One, us coming back to the Western Hemisphere, getting Canada, USA, Mexico, and Brazil back. And Mexico, especially with Sergio Perez now with Red Bull. The track where they have shown they can compete. Max Verstappen getting a win, I believe, in 2018. After, I think they had a front row lockout, and Daniel Ricciardo was on pole, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But definitely a track where Red Bull have been able to compete for wins, so Sergio Perez, the Mexican, will be electric if he can be battling for a win.
Yeah, a lot
in front
of
of his
people
home fans.
seem to really rate Perez and seem to be happy with his move to Red Bull. As a Red Bull fan, I'm happy with his move to Red Bull, but I don't think he's going to bring the results that I think a few people think he might. I think he's a great driver, but he's had a long time in Formula One to only this season just gone to have earned his first race win.
Yeah, and he hasn't always had the opportunities as some other drivers, but his consistency has been impressive over the years. But we've seen with a couple of his teammates, when it gets competitive, incidents can happen. And if that happens at Red Bull with Max Verstappen, I don't think many of the Red Bull faithful will stick by his side over Max's.
No. Max is gospel in Red Bull. It seems that he's impervious to anything. As a letdown estate, sets the fastest lap with a 1:18.4, but he did also pick up an extra penalty, so the letdown estate now has 6 seconds of penalties, which I don't think will help or hinder him come the end of the race, because I think he's too far in between anybody to it have much of an effect.
This is one of the races I think it would be very fun to attend in real life once we get back to normal. That one-of-a-kind stadium section, always jumping with fans.
Well, in was it the 2019 season? They had the car lift up on the podium with them, didn't they?
Yes.
The car lift.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah. It was Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After he won.
And letdown estate setting them rapid times. He's now got a 1:17.9. Mikey is slowly making his way up to the back of Sega. Sega on 15-lap old softs will be looking to pit soon.
I hope for sake of our entertainment, that Sega stays out just a couple of laps longer so that him and Mikey can have a little battle.
Please do it for the fans.
Oh,
No.
Sega calls into the pits on his 16-lap-old softs, likely to throw on another set of softs, which will then take him to the end. So then, Sega goes down to 4th, but on the quicker tire and no penalties. Is there a possibility that Sega could sneak his way onto the podium here?
He very well could, and I think that will be absolute kudos to Sega, because as I was saying, he is a good, fast driver, but it's just overshadowed by these champions at the moment.
He's got a great accent too, in our interview that we did with him.
Well, we may have him on the podium interview as of yet, as you say. He's got a lot of overtake, fresh tyres, softer tyres than Dastardly, and not that many laps to go, so his tyres will be prime right to his last lap.
He's already cut the gap a good bit.
And Mikey is pitting. Why is Mikey pitting?
What is going on?
Got no wing damage. He
just wants fastest lap, I think.
He does, but can he reclaim that position from Dastardly that he's just surrendered? And he's now going to have to get past Sega because he's doing it for the fans, isn't he? His fuel light's on as well, so he's just on the teetering on the limit of fuel. So Sega now in a podium position, closing the gap to Dastardly, but is going to have some threat from behind from Mikey. A letdown estate now back into play with all these pit stops. A letdown estate is only 8 seconds behind Mikey. So if a letdown can find some pace to try and keep with the pack in front of him, he's got more of a penalty to make up for, but this might come into a letdown estate's hands a little bit. Mikey with the purple sector 2, no surprise on them fresh soft tyres.
Yeah, he certainly will be looking to set the fastest lap, but Sega Takala is setting the fastest lap on his fresh mediums. We'll see how much Mikey pushes on this lap.
I wonder if Mikey realised the positions he was going to lose for that pit stop. Because it was a sure second place for him. And he's got 12 seconds to make up to Dastardly. Which maybe he could do 12 laps, 12 seconds, second a lap. It's possible. Certainly possible for Mikey, but he's got to get there and get past him. You know, he might he might have problems caused by Sega. You know, Sega's got the straight line speed and can defend well against the champion, then it's going to hinder his chances of getting back up to that second place, and he's going to lose 3 extra points to gain 1 point for fastest lap, which currently Sega's got anyway.
Yeah.
This may be a bad call from the Renault garage, albeit they're going to finish this race as the Constructors' Champions, but not the best decision I've seen from their garage. sorry to go on about it, Mikey, but I ain't got much else to talk about right now.
Yeah. We've praised Mikey enough this season. We can give him a little slander when he makes a strategy call that just doesn't seem to be making too much sense.
Who is that? We have Bannister. Oh, he's coming past CHM. So Bannister, if he isn't far enough ahead already anyway, he's getting DRS off the lapped car of CHM. CHM now 2 laps down, but 23 laps on their medium tyres. CHM's doing well for them tyres.
And with 3 of our cars not finishing, CHM, all he has to do is keep it on the track. And we'll get a decent amount of points, which will help Renault wrap up the Constructors' Championship.
So now Mikey, he's looking around 9 seconds, so he has took a few seconds off Dastardly on them soft tyres. But he still does have a Williams and a Ferrari to overtake to get back up into second place. So yet to see if this strategy is going to play out. There's still every chance that any one of these could earn themselves another penalty. We've seen a few close calls on the track limit, so we could have drivers on 2 warnings, and another track limit means that they will be getting a penalty. Another 5 tenths, Mikey is gaining. He doesn't seem to be gaining on Sega though.
No, Sega showing good pace on similar tires.
So this might come down to some last lap action, where we've got Sega catching Dastardly and Mikey not quite catching Sega at the moment, but as soon as Sega's faced with Dastardly, it's going to play into Mikey's hands. So Mikey's just took 4 tenths out of Sega, as I say that. Again, I must praise CHM for staying in the lap. He's now been lapped by everybody and Bannister twice, but he's staying in, earning them points for Renault.
Is, if nothing else, he keeps up that record of Renault scoring points with both drivers in every race.
Mikey with not much overtake. I think that's one of the lowest overtake readings I've ever seen on Mikey's car. But he needs to get the chase on. Now down to 6.5 seconds behind Dastardly, but most of that has come from Sega. Also, should mention, we had Bannister in on the podium interview last race. He was congratulating Mikey on our live stream, but he wanted me to mention it today because he didn't have his audio turned on for the live stream, so you can't hear him on the interview. congratulating Mikey for the AL2 championship.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll make sure to remind our interviewees about that setting, so that doesn't happen again. But right now we still got to sort out who we're going to be interviewing for these podium interviews. Mikey trying to close this gap to Sega Taka's in front, but still got that 3-second penalty, so even if he does catch Sega Taka's, unlikely that he'll be able to extend the gap to 3 seconds like he will need to.
Sega has got a real opportunity here. He's got the chance to catch Dastardly, and he's got the chance to defend against Mikey to be on the podium. His highest finish this season is second step on the podium. So he could be looking to match his highest finish this season. But again, Bannister nearly 20 seconds out in front. He's really showing the reason he has been the main rival for this Drivers' Championship this season. But I must stay on board with Mikey now, as Mikey will be probably feeling the effects of the slipstream from Sega. He's that close. And Mikey, he's been using his overtake, and his fuel light keeps flashing on. It's the only car where I can see the fuel light coming on.
He's pushing to try to catch Sega Taka's, and he is catching him.
He is 4 seconds away from Dastardly as well, so this is gonna all climax in an epic battle in these final stages.
I think the best thing that Sega Taka's can do is get his head down and try to catch Dastardly in front, and try to get past the Ferrari before Mikey catches him.
Yep, Dastardly's got Mikey's teammate to contend with now, but CHM has pulled over to allow Dastardly through. Ooh, and CHM is on the racing line through the S's, which is going to play into Mikey's hands. CHM could have done a better job of getting out of the way there, but he's also in the way of his teammate.
And that cost Sega Taka's a good bit of time there. That's not what you want to see, a lapped car interfering with cars on the lead lap.
That's changed the dynamic of this race. Sega should have been further ahead, and it's allowed Mikey to catch.
Mikey, though, with no overtake whatsoever to work with, but it's still closing the gap, switches to the inside and just backs out at the last second.
No, he's not got enough. His fuel light keeps coming on. He's got no overtake. Sega's got overtake left, and I'm suspected he used quite a bit then to stay in front of Mikey. Mikey, even with DRS, is not able to really do much damage to that Delta. Sega now reclaiming some of that time lost behind that lapped car, closing the gap to Dastardly again. Mikey's really punishing his overtake button.
If you're in a situation like Mikey is with such low amounts of overtake, it's not often you see a driver use it on that DRS straight.
No, because then he hasn't got as much now to to come down here, whereas Sega has.
Sega deploying his overtake. Mikey closing the gap. Once again, switching to the inside.
He's got a
and
better
Sega
line this
fight
time.
it the long way around.
Mikey gets the job done. Can he keep the position? He does have DRS, just to add salt into the wound, but Sega is battling.
Oh, and Mikey taking a really awkward angle into turn 4, and Sega battling back. A great move from Sega to cause to squeeze his way back into third.
All this playing into Dastardly's hand, who was under threat from dropping out of a podium place, all to just have these battle and give him a breather.
Yeah. Mikey switching to the inside as they come into the stadium section.
This looks like a man who realises he might have made a mistake pitting for fastest lap, only for Sega to take the fastest lap and his position from him.
Now then, we go again down the main straight. Mikey with DRS once again, closing the gap to the Williams in front. Sega Takara's looking to have a bit more of a gap than this time last lap.
And Sega doing a great job staying ahead that time. Mikey on the overtake and DRS again, but Sega knows he's clear for now. Doesn't deploy his overtake, saves it for more defending. But now the gap to Dastardly back to 4 seconds, so all of this really is helping Dastardly keep that second step on that podium. Immense pressure both of these drivers are going to be feeling now. Mikey wanting to take that podium step, Sega not wanting to let it go.
Mikey closing the gap once again.
But
He's coming into turn 12.
Using all of his overtake.
Turn 12 is just not a great place to overtake, and Mikey keeps closing the gap at the wrong times, it seems.
He's much closer this time though. I think he's going to get the job done before the braking zone.
He's got absolutely no overtake. Sega is just saving his. But he's watching the Renault fly past his inside.
Well,
He's gonna try to go the long way around. No, he's not. He's let Mikey through and had a little bit of a spin.
I think Sega knows that if he's got some overtake, he's going to be the one with DRS on the final lap. And that's when you want the move done. Mikey's got the position, but can he hold it? Sega also with no penalties. So Sega, all he needs to do is stay within 3 seconds, and he's got Mikey.
Yeah.
Both cars looking a little bit loose. The tyres shouldn't be too worn, but the pressure they've been under, they will be feeling the effects.
And if both Mikey and Sega can hold off on battling each other and focus on closing the gap to Dastardly, Sega could maybe jump both Mikey and Dastardly.
Possibly. Possibly.
Sega with DRS down the main straight, that will help him close this gap.
I think it'd be a tall order for Sega to jump Dastardly as well, but phenomenal race for Sega to be in this position with no penalties. Also picking up a purple sector 1, but that will be the DRS assistance. Oh, and Prev is moving out of the way there. Bannister still 14 seconds ahead. Sega really stuck to the back of this Renault of Mikey. Ooh, the both struggling through the S's here.
The track limits. It's the biggest thing, just no penalties for Sega to cause as they come into the stadium for the final time. We see Bannister crossing the line, taking the race win. And then Dastardly now coming around the final corner, taking second. Mikey taking third, but then dropping to fourth. Sega to cause on the podium.
Fantastic drive from Sega there. Well earned to have no penalties. Taking a podium step, but the top step also, man, with no penalties. Bannister really showing us how to drive Mexico there. A letdown estate coming and crossing the line to take 5th place. But that will mean that the Constructors' Championship will be going to Renault as CHM crosses the line and completes the race for us. And that was the Mexican Grand Prix. Driver of the day going to Sega to cause, fully deserved there. Phenomenal race from him, showing that in this league of champions at the top that we have some future talent here. We have a future champion here waiting to just take the title. Bannister on the top step, showing us how to race Mexico. Dastardly holding his nerve to take 2nd place, and Sega, what a drive. What a drive. Unlucky for Mikey to miss out there. I think really the strategy didn't work out as he planned to take fastest lap, because Sega also has the fastest lap point there. So as we final off our standings, we have Bannister in 1st place, Dastardly in 2nd, Sega to cause in 3rd with the fastest lap point, just Mikey in 4th, a letdown estate in 5th, Prev in 6th, CHM in 7th, Old Dad Rules in 8th, Old Dad's Stridon and Appleplex all DNF, but the finishing result means that Renault are now the Constructors' Champions. So big congratulations to Renault there. Condolences to Ferrari, really putting up the fight, and fantastic finish from Bannister, Dastardly and Sega there to be on the podium. And talking about the podium, I believe we've been getting them in for post-race interviews. Matt?
Yeah, if we could just remind our interviewees to check the party settings and allow their voice to be shared so we don't run into a problem that we've had in the past.
I think I've done it right this time.
So, Bannister, we'll start with you. Oh.
Yeah, we can hear you, Bannister. You're all clear.
Not much action, really, for you in that race. It was a pretty dominant performance.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. I was just seeing those fastest laps going up, and I just wanted that, but tried to get it at the end there, but it didn't quite work out.
Now we've seen Mikey do a late pit stop, which looked like he was going for the fastest lap, but I think that's cost him quite a few points because he was 2nd when he pitted, and he's now finished the race 4th.
Yeah, well, he's not going to come in here and talk, so we don't know.
Yeah, he's always one to do an alternate strategy compared to the rest of the field, and it didn't seem to work out for him today.
Normally does.
Yeah, normally it does, but you certainly showed your pace today, and I think anybody who's kept up with this league all season knows that you have the pace to put in these type of performances. So,
yeah, I didn't get
really
any
impressive.
No corner cutting there.
No, got to say congratulations on no penalties there. There was only a few drivers who crossed the line, you and Sega, who had no penalties.
Yay!
So, also, the only one of the other championship battles that are going on right now is for 2nd place in the drivers, which you finished in front of Dastardly, who is your only threat for the 2nd place seat.
Make sure your voice is allowed to share, Dust. In your party
Go
settings.
party settings. Allow voice to be shared. So, yeah, Bannister, how do you think a performance like this sort of tells everybody about the pace you have and the fact that you were miles ahead of everyone? So how do you think, what do you think that tells us about maybe next season for you?
I don't know. It depends whether I move up to AL1 or not. It's entirely up to other people, not me. But you know, I'm happy to go up there, and I think it's my third season, second or third season, and I went from a pad to a wheel, and it took a while to get on top of it. But I think I'm getting better and better every time. But every time I race with faster people, I always get faster. So that's how it works, isn't it? So.
Yeah, well, it was a really great drive, and I think with performances like today, you certainly look like you could race with that midfield pack in AL1 and be really competitive. So we hope to see you in there next season.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully.
Yeah, congrats on the win, and now we'll move to Dastardly, who I think has joined us.
Bannister.
Cheers.
Dastardly, you started on the second row, but you were able to jump our AL2 champion down into turn 1. Talk us through that start.
We can't hear you on the stream, Dastardly, so we haven't got your party settings right at the moment.
Always allow.
There we go.
Yes, he's done it.
That's not bad. I suddenly now know how to work the chat buttons after all these seasons.
So it just opened
good
up for you into turn 1?
It was a good start. Like I say, the guys all pulled over at the left. I kept the racing point jammed in there so he couldn't pull out in the draft. And I just got the inside line all the way. Just had to worry about Bannister out in front. But I had that good a fight with Mikey for so many laps. He just pulled that gap.
Yeah, and I guess there wasn't really any catching Bannister on a day like today, was there?
No.
After he got 7 seconds in front, I just couldn't pull it back. It just wasn't happening. And the least said about the drive-through later on.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really unfortunate because your second place finish would have been different had you not got your drive-through there.
Well, I thought I was on a good tyre strategy, just sticking to softs and throw the mediums on at the end, and I could have been way further ahead. I wouldn't have been as quick as Bannister, but
You were still pushing me.
yeah, I was trying to keep up there, but after the drive-through, it was like you lose a bit of heart for a couple of laps, and then it was like, right, let's get going again. You know,
I think you pitted
nothing
on,
you can do about it.
pitted on the same laps as I did first two stints.
Yeah, that was always the plan. I wasn't even watching you, Bannister. That was the lap I was coming in on.
Me too.
So we stuck to our guns.
When you sort of dropped out of that second position due to the drive-through, it looked like Mikey was on for second place, and then he had an extra pit stop late. Were you thinking when that happened, were you thinking maybe he was going to come back and challenge you again, or what was your thought process there?
I don't think he probably needed to come in. He was just shaking it up a bit. And then at the end, I was positive him and Sega were going to catch me because I knew the pace I had on softs, and it was like, they're going to catch me. But I think two of them were probably battling each other with that.
I think, yeah, if they took it in turns, I think Sega was going to take you, then Mikey was going to take you, but they decided to try and take each other, which just gave you an extra 4 seconds.
Well, I was just looking at that gap going, keep it to 3 seconds, keep it to 3 seconds. And hoping. Well done though, Sega. It was a good finish.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, congrats to you, Dastardly. Second place, a really good drive.
Yeah, condolences on the Constructors' Championship, which has now gone to Renault. So now it's just a battle between Ferrari and Mercedes for second place in the Constructors.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll go all out for the last 2 races, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that. So, now we move on then to Sega to Cause, and what a drive it was from you, Sega, to get yourself back on the podium.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Could you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that was alright. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I could grab that second place from Das, because I don't know if you saw that on the stream, but when it was a blue flag for CHM, it kind of blocked me.
Yes.
And I lost, like, I don't know, a lot of sweat and worked hard to close the gap, and then I had to start again. That was horrible.
Yeah,
But,
you was within about 2 seconds of Dastardly, and then when CHM came along, it was then down to about 4 seconds.
or something.
But then not just that,
yeah.
it allowed Mikey to then get right on your gearbox, and I think made you defending then
Also,
took away your advantage.
yeah, but that was fun, and I think just Mikey as well, like, took it easy on that race, because there's no way I could keep it behind me for so many laps like that. So I think he was like just having a relaxed champion race,
I wouldn't underestimate your pace there, Sega to Cause. I mean, you drove really well, and Mikey was really pushing that last stint when he put on the softs. He was draining his fuel. His fuel light was flashing.
Oh,
he
really?
was draining all of his overtake.
Yeah.
He was really pushing there on that last stint.
He
but you
was,
held
to be
on that
fair.
day.
And this is your
that was a good fight with
podium.
him. That was cool. Yeah, with no victory, that's shit.
Not yet, but it will come. Like, as I said during the commentary, at the moment you're in the shadow of Mikey and Bannister. Once these move to AL1 or anything, this will be your shot, or even just next season, because Mikey a couple seasons ago was rarely on the podium, but now look at him, he's now the AL2 champion.
It's because
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's very, very promising racing from yourself, and to finish today.
Cool. Yeah, that was fun. That was good fun.
Finish today with no penalties, like Bannister. You'll be all right. You'll get a race win very soon.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
that's why. Well, thank you. That's what I try to do, not having any penalty, and see what happens.
Yeah, we've seen a couple races from you where it's just sort of not necessarily battling start to finish at the front, but just sort of flying under the radar a little bit. As
yeah, that's right. 4, 5.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you look at the last stint and you're fighting for podiums, and it's really great to see you get another one. So well done.
Yeah, that was really fun. Can't wait to have a teammate with me, because
Yes.
it was to battle for the constructors.
Yes.
Yeah, you've come on a ton, Sega. It's been a good season for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
And I was on holiday. I was on holiday for like quite a bit.
And fastest lap.
Yeah, fastest lap as well. And
Yeah, I just had that fresh stuff, so easy.
also
Ferrari
Mikey,
owned that for 60 laps until you changed your tyres.
and it has to be said, Mikey pitted that last time, I think, going for fastest lap, putting on those softs, and he just couldn't get it because you kept taking it from him, Sega.
Or maybe he had like all the soft, maybe. Already used
No,
one.
he pitted a lap after you, and he was on fresh softs. He was on one lap
Fresh.
fresher, and he couldn't get it from you.
Yeah, there was only a 10th in it, but you were quicker than him. Around.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna sleep well then.
So then,
Yeah, well done, guys. It was a good
great
race
race.
tonight.
Yeah,
great
it was
racing
fun.
from everybody. Sega, we look forward to what you can do next season. You're showing great pace.
Well, and in the final 2 races to come.
Yeah.
I'm sure those ones, but yeah.
We will see.
Bring on Brazil.
Oh.
So, Bloom, you got anything else to add?
No, all good for me.
Congratulations to Renault for the constructors. Congratulations to the 3 drivers we got in now on the podium. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we will
thanks,
catch you next week in Brazil.
Cheers, guys.
Should be an exciting
See
one.
you next week.
We'll
Yeah.
see everybody then.
Ciao.